Good evening. Welcome to Rotor Talk Live, Season 5, Episode 29, Fimi TX10 Smart Controller, DJI Mini 3 Pro updates. How is everyone doing this evening? I got a lot in the chat here, so I'm going to go ahead and let's welcome everybody here. I already have seen several in here. Let's see who we got. Drone Shots, Mr. Stephen Ewing, Michael Wright, Captain Ray Kelly, JSK Enterprise. Let's see, Flying Flynn Media, JC Flying. Welcome, my friend. Good to see you tonight. 107 Drones is here. Let's see who else we got. Jeff Voigt, welcome, Jeff. Good to see you tonight. Eric's here. Let's see who else we got. 107 Drones is here. Just going through things. And thank you, Jeff, for that sticker. Really appreciate that. Akarasho's here. Let's see who else we got. Drone Views Media, welcome. Wayne B is here, welcome. USA Drone Flyer, Captain Joe America, welcome. And Drone Shots. All right, guys. Hope everybody's doing well tonight. Want to start things off. You've probably noticed, got some new logos, okay? And we kind of, I don't know if you want to get up to the 21st century here or not, but just went ahead and wanted to freshen things up a bit. Really wasn't too drastic of a change, but going to go ahead and show them to you here. Now, if you could probably guess, that is a Mini 3 over here, and that's a Mavic 3, and I have a smart controller in the middle. So got rid of the Phantom 4 Pro and the Mavic 2 over here. And actually, this one's getting changed. It's going to be a lowercase b and then an exclamation mark after the fly. But this is the banner page on not only on YouTube, but the cover page on the Facebook group and page, and also out on Instagram as well. Probably going to be seeing some merchandise soon. Hint, hint. Anybody interested in some coffee mugs? I know those have always sold real well, and I'll work on a few designs. I'll put some out there and see if you guys are interested. Give me a holler. Let me know. I know they've been pretty popular, and I'm more than willing to get them to you guys. And as always, I give you a really good fair price on that. So, all right, just wanted to go ahead and get that out of the way. Actually, do have a lot to talk about tonight. I was out. I had the best drone day I've had in a long time. I got to fly all three of my drones on Sunday. I could fly the Fimi, got to fly the Mini 3 Pro, and got to fly the Mavic 3. Got videos coming out on the Mini 3 Pro. I'm sorry, on the Mini 3 Pro and on the Mavic 3. And by the way, I'm feeling better than I did last week. I apologize. I had a really nasty freaking head cold, okay? Got one article before we really want to get into stuff. And ALOFT Records 500,000 LAANC flight approvals. And just kind of wanted to show this to you guys to give you kind of like a heads up and kind of like what's going on with all this. So let me go ahead and share my screen here. Okay. ALOFT, the company that powers more than 2/3 of all LAANC authorizations in the U.S., has announced a major milestone. UTM Technology Specialist has given approvals to more than 500,000 drone flights since it was first authorized by the FAA to do so for controlled airspace at or below 400 feet. Last month in particular proved sensational for ALOFT when total authorizations grew 58% year over end, and commercial airspace authorizations grew 102% year over end. The Before You Fly application, which ALOFT has redeveloped in collaboration with the FAA to tell recreational flyers whether it's safe to fly their drone, has also achieved impressive growth. Record usage and adoption have resulted in the platform crossing 20 million airspace search requests all times. New features like Notify and Fly that enable pilots to anonymously share their flight intent and location to other pilots are also seeing good growth. From March to June, there's been a threefold increase in the use of Notify and Fly feature. Okay, I just kind of wanted to run this by you guys so you had I like to keep you aware. You know, I don't like to get too much. Oh, that's good, Ray. Thanks for sharing that. You know, I don't like to go too much into. You probably have noticed. Well, my chair is like sinking today, and I don't know why. Probably because the occupant's overweight. Yeah, let's just say that. Anyway, Brazil Air View, welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight. Appreciate your stopping by. Um, I want to focus on, what we're here for. Commercial aspect of drones or, drone deliveries, things like that. Okay. If it's something that's really of particular interest, we'll talk about it. But I'd like to focus on hobbyist space here, and that's one thing that we have a tendency to do. We want to focus on that. So just want to kind of get that out of the way. Welcome, Art. Glad to see you here tonight. Okay. Fimi TX10 Smart Controller overview. I'm going to do two things here, okay? I'm going to show you actually physically the smart controller itself, and then I have listed in the show notes here in the description, there's a link, there's a PDF that Fimi actually provided to me, and it's a little bit better than the manual that they give you with the TX10. It's a very small manual, but what's really nice is with this PDF, you can blow it up and you can also print it out. It's only 36 pages, but it has a wealth of information in it. But I just wanted to take a few minutes and go over this here with you guys. Let me get the screen up here. Okay. Try to do it so there's not a lot of glare. All right. This is what it looks like, and you can tell it's on par with the size of the DJI RC Pro and the original smart controller, and it weighs about as much as well. Now the access ports for everything, I'm gonna show you the front page. Of course, the joysticks over here. The button that's flashing right here, that's the on-off button. That's a display button. In the middle, you have Cine, normal, and sport modes. These aux buttons are supposed to control the speakers, but I'm not real sure of that. These are C1 and C2 buttons. I use that to help pair the drone to the controller itself. On the bottom are speakers, and then there's also a little hole right here. Now it says you can use it to go ahead and mount it to like a tripod. I'd also be interested in seeing if someone could develop a harness for it. Now on the back, and this is really interesting, on this flap that I'm gonna up there, you can see the contacts over there, and right below that, that's space for a battery. Now it's not a drone battery, but it's another battery that you can use to help run the controller. Now, from what I understand, you can see there spaces for the controller sticks are down here as well too. And then there's a couple of programmable buttons right here as well. But what's nice about this is, okay, it has a runtime of about 2.5 hours, which great, but extending that runtime would be even better. And I can tell you, I was out there for probably a good 45 minutes or so, and it got down to about 85%. Okay. You can see right here. Let's look over here. This is a kind of a rocker switch, and I believe you can switch between your taking pictures and video with that, if I'm not mistaken. Of course, there's a thumb wheel, and then there's a toggle switch right here, and it comes right back at you. And again, these are things that can be programmed if you want to do that. More the same on the other side. Another rocker switch. Oh, I'm pointing at the wrong place. Another rocker switch here, a thumb wheel, and then now this one actually is a 3-position switch. And on the top here are all the access ports. Okay, there's an HDMI slot on the bottom, and there's a USB slot right next to it. On the top, the bigger of the two slots is for SD cards, and right next to it is a place for SIM cards. Ladies and gentlemen, this is also a phone. You put a SIM card in here, you can make phone calls. All right. Now, I do have this hooked up to my own Wi-Fi, and I've actually done an update, not to the controller, but to the Fimi through this. And a couple of interesting notes. I'll go ahead and see if I can swipe that up. Okay. Now, Fimi normally, everything that I've seen, and there have been several reviews on it, it's really hard to show you this, okay? But down at the bottom, there's an orange mark down here for different apps. Okay, and that's displayed on the home screen right now. See if I can get a little bit better. Okay, what that is, and it's in China, it has Chinese symbols next to it. Okay, now from other reviews that I've seen of the smart controller, they have said that you have to go out and download a screen recorder. If you want to have a screen recorder, there's no native screen recorder built in. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I went out there. There's a browser on here, and it won't even let me log into Google because you have to log into Google to access the Play Store. This is Android 9.0, by the way. I'm sorry I didn't tell you guys that. So I went ahead and I said, that symbol looks real familiar on there. I pressed it, and then some more Chinese characters came up, and I hit what looked like enter, and lo and behold, it was exactly like AZ screen recorder, and it does have a built-in screen recorder. The other feature on this too is it does have a microphone. You guys can probably see that hole down here. Okay. Now with this microphone, one of the things that you have to do, like if you're holding it out here, say like this, okay, you need to be holding it like this to actually pick up your voice well. Okay. Now, when I was recording the other day, I was more like this, and I have, in my workflow, I have my Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra, and that records some video and also mainly the audio on there as well too. But overall, all in all, yeah, you can watch my video on this. All in all, with the controller itself, I am very impressed. Right now, there's a link in the description. This is available on Banggood for $299. And if you're interested, please don't hesitate to use that link. It also helps out the channel as well, and it would be greatly appreciated. And actually, I ordered mine through AliExpress, and when it first got in the first batch, and I got one of the first waves of this. But all in all, I'm very impressed with it. I stay tuned because there's going to be lots more to come with this. One of the other things I want to show you before we look at I want to show you the directions for this is, talked about, there's a loudspeaker and a release module, and I kind of wanted to show this to you guys. Here it is right here. Now in the bot, and it's really hard to see. You can take a look. Okay, there's a little actuator right here with this. All right, and this is the release mechanism. You probably see it better if I do something like this. Okay, now that will pop. That'll go up to when you activate it, so it'll be in place. And then when you want to release something, you move the actuator. Now here on the bottom, this is the loudspeaker, and I haven't checked the directions to see exactly how this works, but this is something I do want to test. And from what my understanding is with this, it probably won't work for more than 100 feet, either up in the air vertically or out horizontally. They're saying that's what the range is for this. Now, where this fits is a slot on the bottom of the Fimi right here. You can see there's pins, and the pins right here, and it goes in like that. So just kind of wanted to give you guys an overview on that. I think that's pretty interesting. Now, one thing I was real impressed was, and I'm very fortunate, there's a PDF in the description of the instructions for the smart controller. So if that's something that you're interested in, please feel there's a link. Please go ahead and get that. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here and go over this for a few minutes. Now, Fimi did really well with this. Okay, they went over what every button is for the controller, both on the back and the front and the sides. And you can see right here in this graphic, it shows the battery looks a lot like the battery for a Fimi X8 SE 2022 V2, but it's not, because I brought it over to kind of try it to see if it would work. It's not. It has different contacts on it. So, and I've reached out to Fimi, and they haven't gotten back to me on this. But it does tell you in detail what all the buttons are for, and if they're programmable. It talks about there's a microphone. There's also a jack, and forget exactly where it's at. There is also a headphone jack on here, and you can also plug a microphone in here. They do say that on here. And it tells you what the different the lights on and what they mean, the indicators, what they mean. Charging time is 2.5 hours, and I'm sorry, charging time is 2.5 hours. Battery life is 4 hours for this, so that's a pretty good run time. And I showed you the USB-C cable goes into the charging port right here. Just showing you how to get it started. Now it also talks about the position of the antennas, depending upon where your drone is. Like if your drone is going straight up, you hold your controller down with the antennas out, like that. If it's traveling in front of you, you do that, and if it's going the other direction, you do that. So just to kind of give you guys a heads up on that. Okay. And it talks about how to activate it, connect it, pair it. Pairing the drone is really easy. It's very simple. The Navi app works seamlessly on the smart controller. There's absolutely no problems with it whatsoever. You can take a look here and see it. And it goes into detail and explains what all of this is. What drone status, flight parameters, signal status, camera operation, intelligent flight, tells you everything that's on there. Shortcuts, remote control setups, application upgrade, and talks about the SD card. One of the things that I want to tell you and caution you, when you first put an SD card in there, now, I did say that this is a phone. One of the things you have to be aware of is when you format the SD card, you want it formatted as movable storage. You don't want to format it for the phone because you'll never be able to have access to that. I accidentally did that the first time, and I was trying to move files. And the movement, and it's another thing I want to talk about. Moving files, like if you do a screen recording, it's super easy on here. It's just like it would be on the DJI Smart Controller, DJI RC Pro. You just go into the app, you find where your file is, you get it, and you copy to, and then you go over to your SD card and you paste it right in there. So you can go ahead and download it to your PC. It's super simple. But I also recommend using a high-end SD card as well, too. And also one of the things that I'm getting into the habit of doing, and this is just from, hearing a lot about residual leftovers from firmware updates and stuff. I'm reformatting the SD card every time before I go fly, because everything I've wanted, I've already downloaded onto my PC. So it's always a good idea to go ahead and do that. Talks about the audio jack, Wi-Fi, and shows how when you first get on here, what you do is click to enter language selection, this right here, and obviously you want to go ahead and select English. It shows all the languages available, your system parameters, time, USB, network signal status, battery level, the remote, what the apps are. It shows you the basic apps right here, and a quick panel interface. I believe it is Android 9.0. The navigation bar shows you how you can move from screen to screen. It talks about installing third-party apps. Too many Android app downloads and installation will affect the smoothness of the operation of the device. Now, it's interesting, it does have Facebook on here, and it's a very rudimentary version of Facebook. It works, but I just did it to see if it would work. So, and it talks about a firmware update. Again, if you guys are interested in this, there's a location there. All right, Bill's talking here. Nothing is proprietary in China. Okay, man, welcome tonight. One of the things I do want to say is Al Duran pointed out last night on Drone Nation that code is open source. So those of you who wish to tinker with code can do so for this. That's not something that interests me because I've spent 30 years in IT and I don't want to mess around with code anymore. My coding days are long done, and I got about 2 years left in working. So, all right. So that's it for the Fimi. I encourage you guys to go ahead and watch my video if you haven't already. on my first flight, not only my first flight, but my first flight with a smart controller. And I had a couple of oopsies on there, and I'll let you guys watch the video if you haven't seen it. One was slight, the other one was kind of really noticeable, but you can take a look and see. So we'll go from there, and I'll let you guys watch that at your leisure here. Okay. There's been some updates regarding DJI and the United States government being able to purchase drones from DJI, and there was an article in Drone DJ, and we're going to go ahead and bring this up. DJI reportedly making headway against U.S. drone blacklist legislation. In an article Thursday, the Daily said DJI has been working with a pair of lobbying firms to push back against the American Security Drone Act, which would prohibit U.S. federal funding from being used to buy Chinese UAVs. The bill is not retained within the far broader National Defense Authorization Act passed by the House, though several Republican representatives vowed to make the ASD law in a final version or on its own. DJI activities in the U.S. have been weighed down since 2020 when it was placed on the entities list and later included on other blacklists prohibiting various U.S. federal agencies from using the UAVs. Justification for that claims the products pose data security threats. Amid continually degrading relations between the U.S. and China, however, not only the number of federal blacklists targeting DJI's drone increased, but additional moves have also been made to complicating future effort to end the prohibitions. Language in the ASDA would effectively make those permanent, or at least very, very difficult to amend by U.S. legislators who tend to disagree on everything anymore. So, but that's kind of good news because, it's been proven multiple times by independent agencies that they haven't found, any breach of security. Now, the federal government knows more than you and I do. And I'm not going to go there or speculate or say anything about that because, we really don't talk about anything government or political except in relation to terms of drones like we did right here. So I just wanted to make you guys aware of this. And again, all these articles are on Build a Drone Reviewer Facebook group. So you're welcome to go out there and look at this at your leisure and read through these articles. Drone DJ does a great job on these articles. So just kind of wanted to go there on that. Now, this is one thing, and, I kind of briefly talked about this last night on Drone Nation. There are rumors that the DJI RC is coming to the DJI Air 2S, okay? And because I'll tell you what, that's probably the number one question that I get right now is this. And it's crazy. It's just so crazy the amount of questions that I get on it. It's like every day, hey, Bill, have you heard anything about this? Well, our notorious leaker, Mr. Ositalev, okay, according to DJI leaker Ositalev, DJI's new RC controller might be coming to more than just the Mavic 3, but also the Air 2S, replacing the Smart Controller. On Monday, new firmware version for the RC unlocked compatibility with the Mavic 3. According to Ositalev, the Air 2S will be the next drone to receive support for the new controller. They report that production of the older Smart Controller has stopped, and a new offering will be giving users the ability to bundle the RC controller with the Air 2S. Hopefully, DJI will also offer a bundle deal with the RC Pro, which already supports the Air 2S. While we love the RC Pro provides more features needed by professional pilots and a far better long-range connection with external antennas. That has been a complaint for some RC owners on their Mini 3 flights, but the issue isn't widespread. Of course, this is only a rumor, but when we talked with with DJI around the time of the Mini 3 Pro launch, they said the RC support for other drones is not out of the question. Where the release of the Mini 3 has almost entirely replaced the Air 2, there are still plenty of reasons to grab an Air 2S over that. Now, what was really interesting here with all this, okay, and if you guys were paying attention with Prime Day, that it was a crazy price with the N1 controller of a little bit over $1,000 for the Flymore kit for the Air 2S. That's an incredible deal. And I've had a lot of people pose to me questions, Mini 3 or Air 2S, and I'm almost always saying, now I love the Mini 3. Don't get me wrong. I have thoroughly enjoyed every time flying that has been a pleasure. I've had no speed bumps on that whatsoever. It has been a real joy to fly. But be that as it may, what's the kind of drone that I want to take on a shoot to get some good quality video, good quality photographs, and also can be able to handle some wind, okay? And it's the Air 2S, okay, hands down. And that's one of the things that I've had several people in several comments. My chair is just driving me nuts here. Okay, kind of feel like Jimmy Stewart in It's a Wonderful Life in the chair with Mr. Potter, but okay. Anyway, all right. Just kind of wanted to go there. Man, that's a really good point. I hope they do that. I really hope they do that. Now my smart controller is beeping here because I've left it on and I've left it unattended. It's kind of like, and it asks you if it wants you to power off. You have to hit the power button twice, and then there it is. It's powered off. So, okay. Alcarracho Air 3 by Christmas, okay? I don't know about that, but what I do know is, I've heard from more than one source about what our good friend Asilev was talking about with the Air 2S, and it kind of makes sense for them doing this. Number one, as they mentioned in the article, the original smart controller has been discontinued. So you can't find an Air 2S bundle with the original smart controller anymore, all right? The price on the DJI RC is just absolutely crazy. And, I think a lot of it probably has to do with supply and demand in terms of what's available in terms of the DJI RC, not the Air 2S. That's probably what they're running into on that. So, but Air 3 by Christmas, Akaracho, wow, that's really ambitious. Air 2S is selling really well. I don't know. I don't know on that. Okay. But yeah, Air 2S with a DJI RC, that's going to happen sooner rather than later. Now, we recently had a firmware update to the DJI RC. And I know Marcus put out a video. It cured all his ills as far as the DJI RC was concerned. But there's an article, and I want to go ahead and share that with you because there were a lot of complaints about apps crashing, screen flickering, and whatnot. And here's Mr. Brown. How are you, sir?
Hello, Bill. I'm doing well. And before we get into anything, I just want to thank you so much for coming on Drone Nation last night and giving a great rundown on that new TX10 controller by Fimi. Got a lot of compliments today about the job you did. Explaining
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
Of the device.
It was an absolute pleasure, and I've got several emails from people who watched it last night and were really very impressed with that. And again, I am very impressed with it, and I'm anxious to get it back out.
The comment I made on your video that you premiered last night is, I think maybe it was your video, but I made a comment to somebody that I was glad to see Fimi really kind of jump all in on this controller, not just kind of do like a, you know what I mean, like just a simple version. I mean, they didn't waste time. They went in and did it right.
This wasn't half baked. Okay.
Yeah, that's it. Sorry, I was half baked is what I was looking for. Thanks, Bill.
Yeah, this was really well thought out, Ron. They planned this, and I'm really glad to see it. And that's a plus because my hope for Fimi is that it will get up there and they'll be able to knock on DJI's door and say, look at us, kind of a thing. Because I think they're getting there.
Yeah, and I think some of the feedback I've heard is, I think Fimi, and somebody said, I think Michael said this week before, Michael Toto, that Fimi needs kind of a redesign of the body because they need to escape the stigma that this is the same drone from 2018 and 2020. And a redesign, even if it's more cosmetic, would still get people to move past those previous drones.
That's a good point. That really is a good point. Well, hence why, I went ahead and updated my logo on my channel, just, kind of freshen things up a little bit. And, I actually, really the basic change in the logo was I changed out the drones. I put a Mini 3 and I put a Mavic 3 and I put a smart controller in the middle. Just to kind of keep up with the times and keep things going and keep things fresh. Just wanted to, I was just starting to talk about how this new firmware update for the DJI RC. I'm going to go over the article and then I'd like to get your thoughts of it, because this was, these updates have been coming fast and furious, Ron, and I'm glad to see it, because that's one thing DJI has been on top of. DJI has dropped a fairly large firmware update for its latest remote controller, DJI RC, to fix issues that some Mini 3 Pro droners have been facing. Okay. Wanted to see, been experiencing issues such as DJI Fly app crashing or the screen going blank when flying for an extended period of time in hot weather. The firmware bumps up the Fly app to V1.6.9 and prevents the system from crashing, according to the release notes. Further, DJI engineers have also fixed the bug where the RC screen would appear to be flickering when previewing photos and videos in playback. Okay. And I know Marcus, and I didn't get a chance to watch it, I think he put out his video today on that. Is that, am I right?
It, yeah. Yeah. He had no issues at all with this. So, he had a lot of these issues. He did not have the range and signal issue, but he had a lot of the others, like the app crashing, freezing, and so on. So that did not happen to him at all. He even put it through, through his paces, making it do things like the quick shots and focus track and all that stuff that really, caused the crashes when you try to do more than just simple flying, and he could not get it to crash.
Now, I did a little experiment on Sunday, Ron, because I flew all three of my drones. And what I did was, when I flew the Mavic 3, of course, that test was I was using the RC, the DJI RC. And, and then I did the Mini 3 Pro. Now, one of the things that I did was, on purpose, I turned my back when flying the Mavic 3, so the controller was pointing in the other direction. Yeah. And, where I'm at when I get out to the highway, it's about a good 2,000 feet from where I am. And that signal strength was absolutely strong. And then I headed in the other direction over where that building is, where that produce yard's, and I've gotten signal interference there with the Mini 3 before, or weak signal, but I had absolutely no problems with the Mavic 3. And one of the things that I've really kind of surmised, and it's probably obvious to some people, it may not be obvious to everyone, but I think the antenna system in the Mavic 3 is better, obviously, because there's more real estate in it than the antenna system in the Mini 3 Pro.
And the RC Pro has 4 antennas versus the 2 in the DJI RC. Now, I don't know how they're positioned. Obviously, the 2 antennas are 2 that fold out are obviously 2, but I don't know where the other 2 are placed, Bill. Do you?
Yeah, I don't know either. They keep telling you, when the drone's taking off, and when it's ahead of you, to point it like this in this direction. So, it was kind of like that way, when the smart controller first came out, how they told you to face, where the antennas would face, and it worked fine. But, I think one of the things that people need to realize, a larger drone is going to have a larger room, a larger area for things like antennas. Okay. And they'll be able to pick up things better. And I think that's part of the problem of the range issues with the RC, with the Mini 3 Pro that people have been having, although I haven't had them, Ron. Have you?
I'm the worst one to tell you, because almost all that stuff that it fixed, I didn't really have any of it. So the only thing that I have had, the only absolute thing that I've had was when it was sitting on the pad between flights. It was about 4 minutes and it shut down on me. Of course, overheating, or you think?
Yeah, it's 98 outside, and I understand and I get it, and it worked, and that was a good thing, and all I let it do was I brought it in the car for a couple of minutes, turned the AC on, cooled down. 5 minutes later, ready to go, no problems. I brought it right up. So
all these issues, Bill. I think. Oh, there he is, Mr. Marcus Crawford. We were just talking about your video.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm late.
No. Bill asked, he didn't get a chance to see your test of the new RC firmware for the DJI RC yet. And I told him about how your flight went almost flawless, and you even put it through his paces by doing all the focus tracking type stuff and intelligent flight modes. You cannot get it to crash.
The biggest one, the one that was so easiest to make it crash on, was when you were trying to change the home point, either to the controller or, you know, moving it around on the map, that would make it crash every time. But they solved that. I mean, you saw that video. I moved it around. I did
with the screen recording going.
With the screen recording
With the
going.
screen recording.
Kudos to DJI. I am just today, guys, and you guys are probably doing the same thing. I've been seeing all these videos that people are putting up about the compass issue.
Yes.
You know, where you have the attitude indicator, and evidently, I haven't looked at that yet. Have you guys? I need to check.
Somebody did spot it in one of my videos, and they pointed out. I had the comp. We'll call it the, what do you call it? The compass. What's the right word for that thing?
Well, it's called the attitude indicator.
But okay, where you have the one view where it shows the drone, it shows true north and shows you.
Right.
And you're using blue dot. Guess what? And they were right. I went back and looked at it. I wasn't on it. You know what I mean? The drone was on it and true north was on it, but I wasn't on it.
So have you guys noticed that you have to calibrate that controller, do a compass cal on it? And I've had it actually ask me to calibrate it before. So when you pull down that settings screen, if you look on the left side, it'll give you a dialog box there. It says, hey, you need to calibrate the controller. And I've done that a few times, but I don't know if that has anything to do with it or not.
Yeah, I've never seen that message.
Yeah, I haven't gotten that either.
Yeah. You know, I was about to say this a little bit. I'm tying things in here. You know, with all the issues that the Mini 3 is having, and man, a lot of them are minor and a lot of them are spotty. Not everybody has them. But, you know, all the group that the Mavic 3 took, the Mavic 3 didn't have as many issues outside of the slow satellites. The Mavic 3 never had any range issues. It never had the screen freezing, crashing, flickering, all this stuff. You could change the home point. Oh, none of that was in the Mavic 3, but yet the Mavic 3 got so, you know, abused and whatever.
Yeah. Now, listen, Ron. I think we need to. The Mini 3, for me, the problems with the controller didn't start out until that last update
with the double firmware updates that came back to back
that added the Mavic 3 to it. That's the one that messed up my controller. You know, so that's,
one of the things,
take that for what it's worth,
that I wanted to, and a couple things that I wanted to talk about and touch on here, just real briefly, is there was an article today on Drone DJ about the Mini 3 getting approval, the European labels, the CE and the C0. Did you guys have you guys had a chance to look at that at all?
I just skipped over a little bit or whatever. I'm sorry. It's hard for me to keep up with all the European rules and regs.
No, I know, but I just wanted to kind of call that out for everybody, and especially, you know, our friends over in Europe who watch us, including Stephen Ewing. You know, the article is out on Drone Reviewer Facebook group, so definitely make sure you guys go ahead and look at that. Also, I want to let you guys know as well, there's a Fimi sent me a detailed PDF of the instruction manual for the TX10. So that's in the link below in the description. So if you guys are interested in that, and it's really good because you can blow the PDF up because it comes in that little booklet that's about this big, and you need a magnifying glass to look at it. Well, it's in a nice PDF, and you can blow it up and take a look at it to your heart's content. 36
Bill, that's
pages.
the only way I can look at manuals anymore is on my computer in a PDF. I'm too blind to read those books.
And it's nice because you can print these things off and have a manual there. And
well, often, let's just say, you just made a great point, Bill. So often, if I am working on a particular feature of a drone, I'll just print off that page, and I'll take it with me out into the field.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. And it makes all the difference in the world.
Right.
And Ron and I were commenting, and I don't want to interrupt this segment, the Mini 3 segment here with more Fimi talk. But one thing that Fimi did was the TX10 was not half baked. There was a lot of thought, a lot of effort, and then and also with the manual too, and you can tell.
Hey, real quick, I want to welcome in Geeks Fano all the way from over in the UK. He's up in the middle of the night watching us. We should feel honored.
In the UK right now, it is 1:40 in the morning. Right? 1:40 in the morning. So good on you, Geeks.
Hey, well, you know what, Marcus? So they have a heat wave over there. So maybe Geeks Fano's trying to get cool. How hot is it over there?
It reached 102, And Tampa has never reached 100. The city of Tampa has never reached officially 102 air temperature before, and it was 102 over in London today.
Wow.
So I'm trying to figure out what John is trying to tell me there. He says Marcus uses baby oil.
Well, they're talking about
What is it, John?
They're talking about bro cream. I don't know what's going on in the chat there.
Yeah, I've seen something about Matt. Matt was talking about bro cream.
Hey, I wanted to show you guys where to find that compass caliber. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it here.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, you see where it says compass cal. So
yeah,
if you click on that, it'll take you into, and that's in the settings menu.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good thing. I've never done that. I mean, I've never done it before. One of the other things, you know, our good friend Barry Markowitz actually has his Mini 3.
Yes.
He got it from Best Buy, which was great. So
yes.
people are finally getting their orders from Best Buy. You know, and I had another gentleman email me. He's really frustrated. He got his original from Best Buy, had an issue with it, took it back, got a replacement, and that one was having issues as well too. And he's just super frustrated because he knows it's a good drone, and he's seen our reviews, and he's just super frustrated right now. You know,
and Barry's also going to get his Flymore kit this week, also, I believe.
Yeah, I did see that. He did send an email, and also I sent him a link to a video because he asked us a question about you know, formatting the SD card in the DJI RC because there wasn't a lot. There were directions on the RC Pro. I sent those to him, and it worked. It worked just as well for him.
Good.
So he was able to do that.
Good.
You know, but one of the things that I think is paramount, and I think we kind of touched on a little bit last night, is reformatting the SD card in the drone itself before each flight is a great thing, especially, you know, with those firmware updates and it leaving bits in data in there. And I think the other thing you should do as well is to do it in your DJI RC, because like I said last night, you've downloaded your screen recording, okay, from your DJI RC. That should be a blank disk every time you're coming in there. Reformat it. It takes 10 seconds to do that, and it'll save yourselves a lot of headache and hassle from doing that. Do you guys think that's a good thing?
Yeah, some orphan files that get left behind. So one of the things that when you pull this guy up and you pull down that settings menu, if you look on this side, you'll see it says set up SD card. So tap on that, and it tells you your SD card is good to go.
Good. Thank you, Marcus.
Yeah.
And Bill, I advise, you know, I reformat my memory card. If I hope sometimes I forget, but my intention is to reformat my memory card before every flight. Just so I don't run into the situation where in the middle of flight, my card's full and I can't record anymore.
Good point.
Good question from Quadcopters and Tech. Does anyone keep track of serial number loss to see if there's a correlation to those that have trouble? That's a real good question. I may be on the DJI forums.
I was going to say, yeah, I know who does DJI.
Yeah, I was going to say DJI. I'm sure DJI does, but you probably might see something like that in the forums. I'd go ahead and take a look out there.
Hey, Bill, so I don't know if it's on your agenda for this show, but if we get around to talking about remote ID, was some news today about that as well.
Oh, go ahead. If you have something to share on that.
Well, Skydio announced that they are 100% ready for remote ID for this fall when the manufacturers have to provide it. And this is the interesting part. They said that if you own a Skydio 2 or newer, or the Skydio 2, what's the new version? The Skydio 2.2, whatever it is.
Yeah.
They will give you a software update through the air software update that will make you remote ID compliant. So there's nothing they have to add to the drone. The drone is going to be good to go just as it is. I wonder if the folks like at DJI will be able to do the same.
Well,
thing.
remember, Marcus, about a month ago, DJI issued I believe it was an app update. I don't know. It could have been a firmware update where the main gist of the update was that it enabled remote ID for Japan.
I do remember that.
Yeah. And supposedly Japan has a similar remote ID system to what we're proposing. So they were able to do it via software only for Japan. So I'm hoping, I'm assuming that the modern DJI drones, we'll say the last couple years will all be upgradable just via software.
Matt just pointed out, and also Fly Zone Drone, have Greg from the Pilot Institute to discuss remote ID on Friday's show. So guys, definitely want to tune in if you want to get an update on that. That's a good thing. Thank you for posting that, Matty and Fly Zone. Appreciate that. That's a good thing. So definitely want to pay attention.
Yeah, Akarasho is saying that he put out a new video today as well. So yeah, we'll all have to definitely catch that. Yeah, and Lauren is saying the same thing. So yeah, and Greg's saying
the standard hasn't been established yet. So they got to get busy if we're all going to be.
Yeah,
the manufacturers have to do it this year. We got a year to comply, right? Almost.
Yeah, that's true. But here's what I'm saying. I appreciate what these guys are saying, but why would Skydio put out that announcement if they didn't feel confident that they knew
the standard,
what the standard was going to be?
Yeah. Well, maybe here, you know how these things work, Marcus. They may not have the standard set, but they probably have it down to a reasonable amount of things. Maybe they three or four different standards that they're proposing. Well, Skydio happens to know that they're compliant under all the various standard proposals out there.
Well, I'll tell you what will be a relief to me is to know that my Mavic 3 will be compliant, that my Air 2S will be compliant. Now, DJI has said they're only anything above 250 grams, so that the minis would not be included on that. However, that could be an issue for people like us, right? Because my Mini 3 and my Mini 2, I have them both licensed under my Part 107, and if I'm making YouTube videos, that is Part 107 with them, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thought, but I don't think that's ever been determined in court.
Well, that's true.
Nobody's ever taken that to court and proven that is valid.
The only thing I want to add, Ron, is that they have said that sub 250 doesn't matter if it's for a commercial purpose.
Yes.
And so it therefore would have to be remote ID compliant.
Right.
So will DJI be able to make those drones remote ID compliant or not? Or would you have to add a module? Because think what that would do to us then. That would limit the places we could fly those drones, in a, making a YouTube video or something. Now, if you're just flying it for a hobby, it wouldn't matter. Anyway, just another.
The point is, you don't have to put some kind of a dongle on the side of your your DJI drones to fly them legally in the U.S.
Well, the other thing you guys need to remember too with the Mini 3, okay, if you're using the original battery, you're fine, you're compliant. But if you're not, if you're using the extended battery, you're over 250 grams.
Yeah, which is why I didn't give a damn about the extended battery. I'm licensing for Part 107 anyway, so I didn't care.
Yeah, I'm the same way. So that that really doesn't matter. So, but that's a good, this is an interesting discussion, and guys probably want to tune in Friday night to their show to take a look and see, because, we'll stay on top of this. As soon as we get any information or updates about this, we'll let you guys know.
Well, this is one of those issues where the goalpost moves every time we talk about it.
Now, the exception is going to be when I go up there to visit Lauren up in Calgary, and I take the Mini 3 with me. Can I take those extended batteries with me? And if I fly with them, will Lauren turn me in to the Canadian authorities?
I'm sure he will.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to take the Corvette, so if you need to make a quick getaway over the border, you'll make it home, Marcus.
Well, maybe
you want to run no Smokies.
There you go.
Maybe if you give Lauren, let him take a lap or two in the Corvette, he might change his mind.
By God, he wouldn't even have to ask to do that. I'd throw him the keys.
now, what if you happen to visit our good buddy Sean over in Spain? You take those batteries with you.
Yeah, I mean, you know what those guys in Europe have told me when I come over? They just say, he says for appropriate compensation. Yeah. Because I definitely, Ron, and you and I have talked about it. We want to go over there and visit. They say, just bring your damn drone. And they say, where we go, nobody's going to see you flying anyway. So just do it. That's what they told me. So,
And of course, our friend Bob Dempsey, he got himself a permit to fly in Italy on
Yeah,
his
see, that's
vacation
the
over
thing
there.
about it is you have to do it for all the countries. You have to get the EU license, and then you have to get for the individual countries, you have to register, and they're all different. And like what Bob ran into is hell, he couldn't even understand the form to fill it out, you know. So.
Well, JC Flying was asking how many miles you have on your Corvette.
That Corvette, I actually, when I took the trip up into BC with it, I doubled the miles I had on it. It's about, I don't know, I think I've got a little over 3,000 miles on it now. And the reason it's so low mileage is most of those miles are a quarter mile at a time.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I thought JC meant how many miles on his Mini 3.
That could be, yeah.
But you know, one of the things that impressed me this weekend, guys, I did slow motion video with the Mavic 3, and I also did it with the Mini 3. Okay, and I'm going to tell you the Mini 3 is impressed. I mean, it knocked my socks off looking at the Mavic 3, but looking at the Mini 3 and the quality and the detail on it, it really impressed me. That camera is incredible for the size of that camera. And the drone and everything, it was just, it really, the detail level was fantastic on it.
It's the FFA calling, or you know.
He's probably getting on the phone with Frank right now.
I'm back.
You're back. All right. No,
how's Frank Wang doing?
Frank is doing good. He told me that we will be remote compliant on the Mavic 3 and the Air 2S. He said if you're on the original Air or a, well, he also said that they're not going to do anything with the Phantom drones other than the V2.0.
Okay. How about my Tello?
How about what?
How about the Tello?
The Tello's fine. Yeah, they're going to put that. They're going to make that remote ID compliant.
In case I want to fly it professionally.
Yeah, have you still got our Tello, Ron? You owe me a video with that Tello of that thing.
I'm going to dig it out and get the video made.
Yeah.
Well, you know, one of the things that I absolutely love this weekend, and it really, you know, it kind of impressed upon me with flying all three of them back to back like I did, was how stable the Mini 3 was, because it was kind of windy that day on Sunday, and I didn't notice it till I was done, and it was kind of pushing things around a little bit, but the quality of the video, you didn't see it in the video. Okay, so I'm putting a video is going to come out later this week. You didn't see it in the video, and that really impressed me a lot.
The gimbal really did its job then, Bill.
Yeah.
Well, if you were to see something impressive, you should see that little Nano. That Nano is all over the place in the wind, but yet the video comes out, you wouldn't know it was any wind.
And don't you wish we'd had the video from Florida, Ron? It probably was perfectly horizon stable until it hit the water.
Until it was underwater, you know. It probably stayed stable underwater too.
Hey, so I got news there as well. So I know I've told Ron, I'm not sure if I told you, Bill, I've been working with Ken Booth on that issue.
Oh, okay.
And so I just recently asked him, I think yesterday or the day before, I said, hey, I want to do a comparison with the Nano and the Mini 3, but he said, I said, I'd really like to do it with a fully working Nano Plus. Have you made any progress? I said, I'll just use the red Nano I have now. And you know me, I'm going to just show exactly what's what. And if things don't work, I'm going to show them in the deal. I said, I'd really like to either have it repaired or whatever. And he told me that he's still working on that. So hopefully they'll get something done on that. So, and the reason I'm bringing this up is, you know, Autel ghosted me for a while, but I want to make sure everybody knows they aren't anymore, and they're working on the issue.
That's good to hear, Marcus. Yeah. That really is. I'm glad they're, because I know, you know, they had a period of time where some people left and then came back, and I think that's a good thing. And you know, that's a company I want to succeed, and I want to see them do well. And you know, they're kind of on the bubble as far as that's concerned. Okay, because you know they're almost there, and they're almost at that point of being able to be a real competitor in the drone area, consumer drones for sure.
Well, all depends on who you talk to, Bill. Some people tell you they're ahead of DJI. All depends on your audience.
Let me guess, a certain gentleman in Australia.
Oh, yeah, well, I hate to even, yeah, but not just him. A lot of people.
I got the DJI killer right here.
There you go.
Ah,
If you don't believe Marcus, get Charlie on the show. He'll tell you.
Yeah. It's actually not a bad little drone, but it's no DJI killer.
Now, is that video is not posted yet, though, right?
No, I did my first flight with it, but I haven't posted the video. But it flew just fine. I can't.
So if I want to see how the flight looks, I'll just go back and look at your Hubson Ace video.
It really is the identical drone. I mean, they are absolutely identical to the Hubson Ace Pro.
No, Bill, how do you feel about this? There's the same drone out there under two different company names and two different prices and whatever. What you think that's good for the drone business, or it doesn't matter? Or
it sends a mixed signal to me. And I know the EXOs I think are cost more than the Hubsons. Am I right?
They do.
Okay, and that's confusing as well too. And if it's confusing me, somebody who knows things about what's going on in the drone industry, what do you think the average consumer is going to think?
And that Bill, you just nailed it. That is the whole point of it. And I know Ron and I have talked about this 100 times. Those drones are not for people like us. They're for the person that runs across that Facebook ad and they go, wow, that looks cool, and I want to buy it. And what I will say is that it's not necessarily a bad thing, because at least that person will get a drone that works and they'll get customer service if there's a problem with it, as opposed to what we've all gone through where you buy. Well, Bill, you've been through it with Fimi. I mean, yeah, you end up, they want you to send the thing back to China, et cetera, et cetera. So
yeah. The experience of buying through, EXO drones supposedly is a lot better than buying through our friends at Banggood or AliExpress, where there's almost like, it's almost like in the old days when you paid cash or something, you buy it, it's yours, we don't want to see anymore.
And the point of it is, it's people like us and people like are in the chat right here. We're not going to buy that drone because we're smart enough. We know what DJI offers for the same price, et cetera, et cetera. But the person that just thinks, oh wow, I want a drone. Hey, it maybe isn't such a bad deal.
Hey, would you put Lauren's most recent comment up on the big screen? Now, Lauren probably doesn't watch this fellow Canadian Gorilla Man, but Gorilla Man's taken the software from the Hubson version of the Xeno Mini Pro versus whatever EXO calls theirs, and he says it's exactly the same outside of the same EXO in the corner of.
You're talking about the app, and that is absolutely correct, Ron.
But he's even going down all the different settings, various settings. There's no difference at all in any of the settings.
So what I was curious about was the firmware numbers, right? Would they be the same? Well, they're not. They are different. So the firmware numbers on the EXO are different than the firmware numbers on the Hubson. But really, it's the same product, and the functionality and everything in that app, just like you said, Gorilla Man said, it really is just a different icon up there in the corner. Oh, let me show you one more thing. And in fact, they're not even trying to hide it.
Because, show this, Marcus.
Yeah, right here on the side of the drone, I don't know if you can see that. It says EXO Hubson.
Hubson right underneath it.
Yeah, so that's from EXO. So they're not really hiding it.
Well, they don't need to be hiding at this point because as Marcus pointed out in his video, if you buy the new Hubson drones that have come out since EXO became partners with them, those drones will not be activated in the U.S. At least not legally or whatever. So you can't get that Ace in the U.S. I mean, you could possibly get it in from one of the Chinese resellers, but you would not be able to activate it. So they don't really need to hide it anymore.
Yeah. Hey, let me answer, Lauren. Lauren, I cannot comment whether the firmware is different or not. There's different firmware numbers, but the whole nomenclature is different. I can tell you this. The drones fly the same, they operate the same, and they have the same features, and they look the same. So I have a hard time believing that the firmware can be too much different.
Right, and if Gorilla Man's put it through its paces, there's probably not much, much less, not stone left unturned, right, Marcus?
Yeah.
Well, one of the things, and I'm looking at a lot of the comments, and and I think a lot of them are really nailing it on the head. Like Akarasha said, anytime you have an X in there, that's for marketing purposes, and people are attracted to it, and that I think is what EXO has probably done best. Is they're a great marketing company,
No question about it. Yeah.
and you know what, my dad had a saying, and I loved it, and you can't shine a turd, okay. And it's the same thing here, okay? How can you shine a Hubsan? All right, let's call it an XO, and then we're going to hide the Hubsan name on there, but then we're going to rebrand it, put a little bit of flash on it, make it look, and then charge you another $100 more for the same drone.
Hey, Bill, highlight Geeks Vana's most recent comment, the one at the very bottom. So, different street, Charlie's saying
that one down there.
Yeah, direct from Hubsan. So his comments are not consistent. Sean's saying.
Wow.
So
wow.
Well, I mean, and not to knock Charlie. If I was on as many shows as Charlie was, I probably wouldn't say. I couldn't say the same thing every time either. It's a lot to keep up with.
Yeah, I mean, all I'm saying is I'm not. All I'm saying is that it's not a bad thing for all buyers. I mean, at least if somebody buys a drone there and they have a problem with it, they're going to be able to have somebody to talk to, as opposed to, you buy it off AliExpress and you're SOL.
Yeah.
We'll see. That's why, as I said last night, and I've talked to other people, in getting the Fimi, I got it on Amazon on purpose, just for the express purpose. If something's wrong, all I got to do is send an email, put a label on it, the box goes back, and I get another one. Okay. It's just as simple as that. There's no fuss, no muss. But I will say this for Fimi. Okay. For me, my experience with their customer service has been stellar, because within a week and a half of my sending back my original 2018, they sent me a brand new one, just the body only, not the battery, but still, it was a week and a half later I got it back, which I thought was absolutely fantastic from them. So they've been responsive. When you email them, they do respond. So that's one of the things I think they're working on, and I think they're getting better at. So,
I mean, see the customer assistance all comes down to how you're handled. When I had all my issues with my Fimi Mini, they never ever respond to any emails, tweets. They ghosted me totally on that Mini. So again, the problem is customer assistance. It all boils down to how you got handled. You know what I mean? You think they're good customers because you got a good experience, but the next guy could have got a completely different experience. That said, customer assistance is a tricky thing. It all comes down to how you were taken care of.
Ron, you're kind of making me think about GoPro right now.
You see, and other people come on and tell you GoPro has good customer service, but it all comes down to how you were handled. You may have got the new guy in customer service, or you may have got the worst person that works there on the phone or whatever. Maybe the good person went to lunch and they call up a guy from that usually cleans up to answer the phone for a half hour. Again, it's tough. It really is.
Right.
All right. Well, want to wrap things up here. Ron, you have any closing thoughts for tonight?
Outside of I'm glad to see that hopefully DJI has got everybody on track now with the Mini 3. On track as far as signal range, the controller not freezing. I hate to even give a review of the Mini 3 so far, Mini 3 Pro, because of all these little bugs and issues. A lot of people haven't had a consistent experience with this. I hate to even review it until kind of all these issues are swept under the rug, and I think this may be it. But anyhow, Marcus.
Loving that Mini 3. I'm telling you, that has been a fantastic little drone. And just like Bill said, it's just you look at the video that comes off of that sensor on that guy, and it's jaw dropping. So yeah, what am I going to be doing? I definitely going to be doing some more with the Mini 3. This EXO drone, I'm definitely going to fly that a lot. I want to kind of put together a series of videos of the features on it, just because I know that there's probably an audience out there of some new drone flyers that are probably going to buy that thing, and they don't know all the different features and so forth like we probably would. So I'll probably be working on that kind of stuff in the future. It's so damn hot now, though. It's kind of hard to even think about going out to fly.
Yeah, and I was going to echo the same thing. It's 98, 99, 100 around here right now, and the humidity is matching. And we had an incident the other night where I had just gotten a shower. It was Sunday night, getting ready to sit down and relax, and our AC went off. And the drain line clogs up, and you got to shot. I don't know if you guys have done this before, but you got to shot vac that AC line every now and then, especially down in Florida, because AC runs 12 months out of the year. I mean, there's been a month that we don't run it. So of course it did that, and we went out there and did it, and it wasn't doing it. And you can see there was still water in it, and we suctioned out some water on the inside. Valerie kind of spent a little bit more time, finally got it to where it works. But one of the things that I found out, because people say, oh, you pour vinegar and hot water and everything down there, but you know what I found? They sell it on Amazon. It's a kit for $39. Okay. It's powered by little CO2 cartridges like you would do for a BB gun. All right. And it's a little nozzle, and you put it on top of your intake where you would pour like that vinegar in it. So you give it like 3 or 4 of those, and it shoots everything out the other end. It works almost every single time. And it's like $39, because if you have a service call with an AC company, you're at a minimum $120, and just them coming out and going through your door. So that's a side note on absolutely everything. I'm planning on getting the Mini 3 back out this weekend. I really enjoyed my time with the Mavic 3. We're going to do some more slow motion with that. So I really enjoyed that. And we're going to test this module here this weekend on the Fimi. And also I want to get the Fimi out because I did a firmware update for it. See if, and I'm going to do a gimbal calibration and a remote control calibration and a compass calibration before we go out. See if it's corrected any of that, and see if I get that little wonkiness with the gimbal again that I had near the end there.
I saw that in the video.
Yeah. That was that, and it was fast as it happened. It was done, Ron. I mean, it just
maybe you just caught like a little wind gust as you were coming down, like an odd wind gust.
It could have done that. One thing I noted though, and the Fimi does not do that DJI does on their drones. Like if you have the gimbal pointed down, like right before you land, that gimbal pops up. Okay.
Not on the Fimi.
Not on Fimi. It's still down there. Okay. So you got to remember, and that's one thing I want to remember to do, that is to pop that thing up, because I don't want to be hitting that glass down there.
Yeah. The lens on the ground. Yeah.
That's a good call out, Bill.
So I want to thank you guys for great contributions as always. It was a great show tonight. I want to thank you guys for having me on last night, which was great, because I'm enjoying it.
You did a great job, Bill. You really did.
Thank you. Appreciate that a lot. And want to thank everybody in the chat. Great chat tonight. Thank you guys so much. And as always, guys, remember, it's a great day to fly. Take care. Have a great rest of your evening.